This podcast is basically just about how we got started. You and I had very similar paths for how we got into filmmaking and videography. We definitely both started in high school, and we had a little bit of a separate journey, but why don't you tell people how you got started in video editing?
Yeah, so I started as a theater nerd, and I have always thought that I would just want to be in front of the camera, right? So theater was like my first part of my life. And then I met a friend who was in my drama class, and he said, "Oh, you should check out this great broadcasting program that's a part of our high school. You'd be a great fit for it." And that's where my inspiration and love for filmmaking began. I traveled abroad, made a documentary,
Yeah, you went
found
to
a great mentor.
How many countries did you guys go to? I know you went to Germany and Poland.
Yeah.
Did you actually get a chance to go to Canada too for that? Or
No, that
okay.
was like a different group.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just a great experience. I was able to get a great mentor, Doug Green. Shout out to Mr. Green.
Shout outs to Doug Green. We love you, man. A lot of this is a direct result of your teaching and your enthusiasm. So, Haley, couldn't have done this without you.
Definitely. There'll be a few shout outs throughout our podcasts coming up.
That's right.
So, yeah, I always thought that this was like my life is just being, in front of the camera. But then I realized that really being behind the camera was more of my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And which led me to meeting you in film school. And that's where I got to know you better, and your experience in skateboarding really drew you into your filmmaking career. So I know the audience would love to hear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my skateboarding career heavily influenced my videography passion. I grew up skateboarding in the streets of Long Beach, California. We had a little skateboarding crew called Familia Folks.
Yep.
And it was just a bunch of guys just hanging out after school, trying to practice our kickflips and everything like that. And eventually my friends told me to get one of those like Sony mini DVD camcorders. And I'll never forget, it was Christmas Day. I was out there in my backyard just practicing my pop shove-its and different 180s, things like that. And I press record on that little Sony Handycam. And just like the classic California kid, we were trying to be like the Lord's Dogtown people. We had like our long, like curly hair flipped out, and oh man, those are definitely the good old days. I miss being a teenager and not really having a care in the world. But I had no idea that skill set and that time in my life was going to turn into my career long term.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think those days where you created those just really fun videos that people could like really relate to, the Familia Folks Volume 1, Familia Folks Volume 2, you had like also just a good time with your friends, like interviewing people from like all walks of life.
That's right.
And that was when you showed me like your very first like viral video you did.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we should put that on the record. No, it's all good nowadays. But yeah, so that video was my beach pranks video. And it got somewhere, I think if I remember correctly, about 150 to 200,000 views.
Yeah.
And this was in the very earliest phases of YouTube. I think probably back in 2005, 2006 at that point. So we got all these views, but it wasn't necessarily for the right reasons. All the comments were like, "You guys suck, like this isn't right, like be respectful, be responsible." So I learned at a very young age how to go viral on the internet.
You did.
Yeah.
And we took the name Familia Folks with us, and that's where it kind of leads us to our love.
That's
This
true.
is where it all kind of began, was when we entered college and we went to film school. That's where we first met.
Yeah, back in the day, even before college, back in high school, another funny video I did, remember, it was that bullfight video?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was filming the bullfight out in Artesia. My friend Josh and his family took me to this random bull ring in like the most innocuous place you could imagine, and they had live Portuguese bullfighting there. So I recorded it all on that same Sony Handycam. Just got footage of, the what are they, the matadors.
The matadors, yeah.
So I got the footage of the matadors like doing their thing, and like they did it in a very humane way. It was like very just a fun and just family oriented time. But then I took that footage and then I just spliced it all up into Sony Vegas. I was just a little kid back then, up until like 1-2 a.m. just kind of playing around with the computer. And then I showed it to my mom afterwards. She's like, "Bill, this is really good video." I cut it to Queen, Another One Bites the Dust.
It's a good song.
Yeah, especially for a bullfighting video, right?
Yeah. Anything goes.
Yeah. And so she's like, "Bill, like you have like a real like knack for editing." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever." I didn't really think much of it, but yeah, that's just that same piece within both of us that we started out in high school, and just it translated all the way to when we first met at Chapman.
Yeah, film school was a fun time when we first met. I remember meeting you in an editing class, and I was trying to get your attention, and I feel like you kind of had a little bit of a crush on me, but I
did.
I thought you were kind of like playing it off a little bit too.
Let's be honest with your viewers, Haley. Were you the one that was kind of initiating this? Like,
I was
a tad aggressively as well.
A little bit. Yeah, I really wanted to get your attention.
That's right. That was fun. Yeah. So how did you try to do that?
Well, I remember coming up to you because we were getting assigned to different film groups for a specific project where we would be on set for like 3 days. Oh, and I really wanted to be on set with you, but you kind of were like, "Nah, I don't know if I really want to like be in the same group as you."
I was playing it cool. I was being a little playing hard to get. Yeah. Yeah,
you were also wearing like a
oh yeah, those little Ray-Ban glasses.
Yeah, you're wearing like your black glasses.
That blue beanie that I had.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was like 80 degrees, but in California, if you're in college in Orange County in California, you're going to be wearing a beanie if it's 80, but yeah.
Yeah, we got each other's attention, and there were just so many long nights of editing together. I remember editing your projects, and then you helped me with the audio projects that we had.
That's right.
And we had like this fun like late night, and there were many late nights in film school because you would just be up all night like working on your projects.
Do you remember that one project that we spent quite a bit of time doing? Did it have something to do with like celestial underwear? Like we would just come up with like the most random ideas.
We just came up with this like weird 60-second spot.
Yeah.
That would be on
like
the radio.
Like the dirty soap. Remember that? And we had to like make an ad about soap that made you dirtier. Like yeah.
And I thought maybe celestial underwear would make me less dirty or something like
that.
Who
knows? Yeah.
We had some fun times.
Who knows what's going on in your head as like a Chapman Greek life type of person in film school up till all hours of the night.
I mean, we just had good times together. We learned a lot from each other, learning on Avid, learning on Pro Tools, learning all the different techniques. And then we went back after the next semester, and we got into the same editing class with Scott Arundel. Shout out to Scott Arundel.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because we were sitting in the back of in the back of the class, just kind of, chit-chatting. And then he turned on that short documentary about those private schools, remember?
Yes. And we both went to private schools, so we were kind of giggling and just throwing some, jabs at the film. And it was also kind of boring too. So we kind of had to entertain each other.
In our professional opinion, as seasoned video production specialists, it had some work that they could have tightened it up.
But that's what also brought us together. It was like also looking at projects and like seeing how we could make them better. But it was also just fun to just be able to chat with someone that I got along really well with. And that's where I feel like, started to fall in love.
Well, I'm surprised back in the day that you didn't rap more back then, because now you have quite the talent for rapping. And you did that rap at your BNI group in Denver when we were living in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. I know. I was standing, we were going through like all of our different, 30-second pitches, and I stood up, did the rap, didn't know what to expect after doing it, but I got a standing ovation. Was really surprised.
Yeah, that was
it
a
went
pretty
really
crowded.
well.
It was a pretty crowded event too.
It was.
Yeah.
There were about 80 people attending that day. So the fact that everyone was super excited, and then the person that went after me was like, I don't know how I'm going to top that.
Well, it's all those networking groups where you kind of stand up in front of a room and then you give your kind of canned 30-second elevator pitch.
But that was your inspiration.
Yeah. So
you told me you wanted me to rap.
I just told Haley, I was like, listen, nobody is going to be entertained or engaged by the fact of you just saying oh, I do promotional videos, I do about us videos for your website. Let's make it fun. And people really were receptive to it.
Yeah, it was fun. I was able to drop a little beat, so rap over the beat, and practice with Bill, driving to and from, working out at different clubs. And it was a hit.
Yeah, I mean, that was back when we lived in Denver. Do you want to get into that transition during COVID of how we moved to Denver sort of abruptly?
Yeah. We did. We were a little bit burnt out from having just really long days.
That's right.
And we wanted to change. So we moved to Denver, got really into snowboarding.
Well, yeah, back then too, we had never even left California.
It's true.
Yeah.
We were both California natives.
Yeah, neither of us had ever lived anywhere besides Orange County, San Diego County, or being from Long Beach, where I'm from. And we just got the bug. And then we said, we're going to do it. You only live once. And we packed up our bags and then reestablished our production company in Denver for a few years. Yeah.
It was fun. We had some amazing clients in Denver. It was a really great time. That's where we had our son, Dean.
What would you say is probably the best part about living in Denver versus California?
I think the best part about living in Denver was the mountains.
Yeah. Just being able to get out in nature in 20, 25 minutes. You're in Boulder from Denver, so quick.
Yeah, and we went snowboarding all the time.
Yep.
It took us an hour to get to the slopes. Just breathing in that fresh mountain air, being able to hike. Just a great culture. We had a good time. And the walkability was really fun, checking out all these different restaurants.
Oh yeah, Golden Gate Canyon Park, going camping up there with Dean when he was a little baby.
That was a good time. That was a grand old time.
But ultimately, what did we miss? We missed our families, and needing to have Dean grow up near his grandparents. And we really, really missed the ocean.
We did.
Which is why we have now established our new office here in La Jolla.
Yeah, we're loving La Jolla. We have a great studio. It's a great hub for entrepreneurs and founders to utilize the space for podcasts, for interviews, you name it. We can pretty much help make your content dreams come true, as I like to put it.
Yeah, we have people come in here for headshots, promotional videos. We've even had people come in here just to do Zoom calls, just because it's kind of a fun and just nice background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to make people feel comfortable on camera, and having a background and going to film school together, and us being a husband and wife team, I think really resonates with the people we work with and collaborate with. And
it's also kind of a benefit that, back in that old Papa Jack La Jolla house, we're right there too. I remember we spent a lot of summers going over there and just hanging out at the beach. Yeah. And that's probably the thing that was the magnet that was drawing us back, just missing California so much. Yes, the jewel, La Jolla, right? The jewel of the coast. So basically right now, we're in this transitional element of our business where we're getting new clients. We're making a lot of investments in equipment. We're doing more on social media right now, hiring some new freelancers, some new interns. So it's been fun, but right now it's also been kind of an overwhelming thing too, because we've had to manage that whole process while also raising baby Dean, or like what some of my friends like to call him, baby man Dean.
Baby man Dean, yeah. Dean is now 3, and
Yep.
he's just a great kid. Definitely, we're definitely in a balancing act phase, I would say, of our life right now, where we come into the office, we're doing a shoot for a client, or we're scheduling something, and then the late afternoon rolls around, and it's time to pick up Dean for preschool.
Yeah, and maybe one day he'll be a little videographer just like his parents.
I could definitely
Yeah.
see it. He has he has a very strong mind,
What
very bold.
do you
He's a
think you
bold
would
kid.
want to have Dean develop a more creative path in life, or maybe a more scientific sort of journey?
He's definitely coming
Yeah.
off to me as like very analytical. Like he
Yeah.
really likes to think through things. He's a lot like you.
Is that the tortoise or is that the hare?
He is a lot like what your good friend Justin, who's also our
Yeah,
client, was telling
he's always
us.
giving me crap about that. Like, oh, the tortoise married the hare.
I'm definitely the hare.
Yeah.
The hare is a little bit faster to make it to the finish line and really wants to get the job done. And I definitely got that from my experience being a production manager and a floor director with NBC Sports and Fox.
Yep.
And I just really like reaching the end of the project. But there are often times where I really enjoy the start of a project too and getting it off
Yeah.
and going.
And then speaking of that,
And for you,
yeah, I'm more the tortoise, like the more analytical, try to think more strategically. I think I might have learned that during my MBA program too at Chapman, to kind of look at the business more holistically and make decisions that way. And that's what makes us a really good team. You working together in your producer role and me stepping back in the edit bay and also as a director, where you have to handcraft like every little frame sometimes with like motion graphic sequences and just really fine tuning things.
yes. I remember we were living in San Clemente before we moved to Denver.
Yep.
And we had a really long night where we were trying to find the right music for a project.
Was that one of our 80-hour weeks, or was that maybe a little before then?
I think it was a little bit
I think it was
before then.
that. Yeah.
And I needed a little bit of a break. And so I took Mr. Sam and Summer on a walk, came back. You were nodding your head, listening to the beat like you normally do when you're listening to music, right? You're
I'm
really
right in
into
that
it.
mode right now. I'm like reliving that experience right now because I know exactly. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. So
Yeah. And got back, you showed me the beat and you're like, what do you think? Is this going to be the right track? And I said, yeah, it's perfect. But it had taken you and me really just hours upon end just to
Yeah.
find the right track. But once you found it, it was magic and it made everything come together.
Well, what's so hard for me to believe about that era of our life was the fact that we would do that and then we would go like right back to like an on-set project with some super like elite level client, and we just like maintained that momentum that entire maybe like 3 to 5 year period, like nonstop.
It's true. We were a lot younger then.
Yeah. But now with Dean, I mean, we're lucky that we're even able to squeeze this podcast in based on how time consuming it is and how much planning and prep goes into doing it the way we like to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like we've definitely honed in on our craft. We've honed in on like the importance of having like a good personal life, a great business, but it's taken a lot of fine tuning, like,
Well,
right?
in the past 12 years, so speaking of Familia Folks, so the first name of our business, people should know, was called Familia Folks Productions.
Yep.
And then we founded that as a general partnership, going door to door and just selling DVDs to people.
That was a good time. And yeah, we just utilized like our communication skills and like personalities to just tell people what it is that we were trying to do, but we were really going door to door.
I feel like people just admired the fact that we had like a hustle and like that entrepreneurial grind in college. Because some people wouldn't even buy the DVD. They would just give me like $20 and be like, hey, man, like good luck with your business. Like I can see you're working really hard. But I remember I would write on the DVD with like a Sharpie with like my phone number, like, Bill London, like director, videographer, like contact us for future projects.
It's true. That was like
Yeah.
ingrained in our just desire to like hustle
Yeah.
and like succeed.
Do you remember when we would go door to door and we would try to go separately, but then like we wouldn't be as successful? But then we teamed up as like a boyfriend, girlfriend, and then we had this little kind of like interplay. Like you would talk a little bit, then I would talk a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like we would close like maybe like 6 doors straight of like
Yes.
selling our DVDs.
No, it was
Yeah.
way more successful doing that than doing it the opposite way. And now as I look back at that, I feel like that's the way it's honestly gone a lot better for us even now.
What do you mean for like, for meetings and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Like we
Yeah.
work better when we're together.
Yeah.
And when we're on the same page, we work even stronger together. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we sharpen each other's skills and people feel really comfortable with us.
I mean, we don't always work well together though. I mean, like,
That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Lately, I feel like we have.
No, yeah. But like back in the day, like when I was a little bit less self-aware, maybe a little bit more just kind of in my head, I remember sometimes we used to get in even like arguments on set, even in front of the clients. And we had to kind of like reel that in a little bit. Because in your opinion, I think what we were talking about earlier was like, you thought it was because we were like just in love with the craft of filmmaking.
Yes.
But don't you think it was just because I was mouthing off a little too much to you sometimes?
Yeah, you were a little bit.
Yeah. But
You were
that's,
just riffing, like when you
Yeah.
play your saxophone and you just go on your like
my
mojo
improvisational.
flows.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's just the joy and also just the roller coaster of being a husband and wife team. And that's what people ask us all the time. Like how do you guys do it? Like, how do
Yeah.
you guys like stay sane and stay productive? Because it's not easy.
No, I mean, we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
There are days and weeks on end where we're spending, almost every waking minute, together.
Yeah.
By the time, we get up, have our coffee, eat breakfast, take Dean to school.
And then
come into
Haley's
the
always
office.
like, "Where are you going, Bill?" I'm like, I gotta go on a walk to the park. I gotta, maybe go to like a cigar lounge, go to the gym, just do something to take care of this, because it's literally like we're in the trenches.
We are.
For the past like 12 years of running this business together.
It has.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. I feel like we're starting to find a good rhythm, but I think we still have a lot to learn. And I feel like, we've been really open-minded though. Like,
I can't believe how long we've been actually business partners.
yeah, I can't believe it honestly either to this day.
Because we've known each other 14 years,
Yeah.
but we've been business partners 12 of those 14 years.
Yeah.
Almost the entire time we've existed as a couple.
It's true. I mean, our families have been entrepreneurs, so in a way I feel like it's kind of been ingrained in how we were raised, and the people that they were, I feel like, had a big influence on us. So this is kind of fate,
I
right?
think so.
A little bit.
Do you think even like when we started Familia Folks, that was kind of fate as well?
Yeah.
Because like I had decided to trademark the words Familia Folks just out of just like being really protective with this like kind of idea that I had. But I remember we showed up to the bank with $400
Yes.
from the DVD sales.
Yes. We had $400 in our bank account.
Yeah. We
Nothing.
deposited that cash. And then the banker, he told us, he pulled out this little calculator, like, okay, so payroll costs, administrative, marketing. And now it's like to like our present day, like it does take a lot to run a business.
It does. It truly does. And it's been a great 14 years of being together, 12 years running the business, and we're just going to keep on working at it. That's us.
Well, do you remember those times when we would like drive from like Chapman to like the Van Nuys Airport to do a project?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Like,
that
how
was
would
one
we
of
be
our
able?
first clients.
How would we be able to do that now?
Driving 2.5 hours? No, we would have to like hire an assistant or a few
Hire
assistants.
or hire the babysitter to bring grandma along.
Yes. It's a
Grandma,
lot
go
of
wait in the parking lot
scheduling.
while we do our shoot or something.
Yeah.
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 But like we made it work. Like
did.
It's almost like a miracle. Like no funding, we just bootstrapped the entire project that was running our company for the first time.
Yeah, I remember our first client, Van Nuys Airport, and we did an educational video for them
Yep.
highlighting the programs
Yeah.
and the students that were impacted by it. And it was a great experience. We traveled like almost 2 hours or more to Van Nuys Airport and back.
I remember that. I just totaled my car the week before that shoot.
Yeah.
So it was actually my first professional opportunity, right in college still, and we just so happened to get the insurance money back to buy a new car, like the day before that shoot started.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we needed your car to be working to get to that shoot.
I don't think
we didn't have a choice.
I don't think the bus lines would have gone from Chapman to a Van Nuys Airport with our Canon XHA1 and like all of our tripods and stuff. Like, how would we have done that?
Yeah. We couldn't have. We would have probably had to cancel, but you know.
But back then, like everybody kind of just like flew under the radar too.
Yeah,
like,
there was less pressure back then too.
Do you think that was just because we were kids and like we weren't fully aware of like kind of how businesses operate?
Yeah, I think we just at the time we just had like a different spirit about us where there wasn't a lot to take a risk on, and like it was okay to fail.
Well, it didn't feel like a risk at all either.
It didn't then. It was just part of our life, and it was a great experience. I mean, film school really taught me how to tell a great story.
Telling the untold story ended up being our tagline for a while.
It has been. We still use telling the untold story for some of the projects that we work on and pitch.
I mean, it's true because everybody does have a story to be told. And in today's new sort of hostile business environment with the advent of AI and with just people turning to quick fixes with technology and social media, like you have to tell your story on camera.
Yeah.
Like it's an essential part of your business's survival at this point.
It is.
Yeah.
We are learning it right now.
It's true.
Through this podcast. And, you know, familiar folks being the start of our journey, and then back then we had so much freedom to do that. Now we're more location specific, right?
Yep, right here in San Diego, La Jolla,
and,
baby.
You know, it's
right
home.
Where we started.
It's home for me. I mean, I had a feeling I was gonna marry you back in the familiar folks days when we first started, because I grew up around like a huge beach and skateboarding culture growing up in Carlsbad.
It's true.
Like
it's in our blood. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
Really
I knew I was gonna eventually just be with you. And I am still now.
Hey, so for anybody listening, if you're a skateboarder out there and you're practicing your kick flips or your frontside flips, you might get a wife out of it. It's
really
highly possible. So I know we got some errands to catch up on. I know we got to go up to Carlsbad to pick up baby Dean. So what else should we talk about as we wrap this podcast up?
Well, I think people would love to know, like, besides, you know, running a production company, like, what gets us up in the morning?
Yep.
So, Bill, what gets you up in the morning these days?
I think what gets me up in the morning and what I try to facilitate with all of my clients lately is just trying to look at how video is just going to augment and increase their ability to sell and their ability to just be strategic with their marketing. And it's easy to say, but it's increasingly harder to do over time with how little time you have to capture people's attention.
I agree. I think also lately just being like very open and like honest with them, like we're trying to help you, like we're not trying to like sell to you.
Yeah.
Like, and we also,
I mean,
like,
it's nice to sell and to get new deals.
it is.
But ultimately, like, we're busy enough to the point where like we are just operating more as like a consulting service oftentimes for clients.
Yeah. And I kind of just want to be people's friends.
That's true. Yeah.
I want them to feel comfortable with us. I want them to have a good time working with us. And I want it to be a good experience.
Yeah. Well, I feel like especially in 2024, like slowing down after we moved from Denver, reevaluating our whole life, moving from California all the way to the Rocky Mountains, back to California. It's like, why am I actually doing this?
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's always just going to be about the creative output of what we do. It's the same Bill that was sitting there editing 1 and 2 in the morning, that bullfight video. It's the same Bill you get today because I truly do love production.
You do.
Yeah.
As you were telling me about the bullfighting video you were editing, I was thinking about that one animated graphic sequence of familiar folks taking off on the runway.
Oh, yeah, for like my little study abroad trip to Spain.
Yes.
Yeah, I did a little video for them. That was fun.
And I remember just watching that intro animation sequence over and over and over again. And I feel like that's a really good symbol of the life we've created.
Of where we're at right now, you think?
Yeah. Like we're on the runway. We're taking off. We're ready to approach the destination. And it's not over. We're just really just restarting.
Okay. That is true. And with that restarting has created that new leaf with all of our new gear, with upgrading to the GH7, buying all these new Cine lenses, buying that really beefy MacBook with 128 gigs of RAM. Like we're definitely going to be trying to step it up a notch moving forward.
Yeah, I'm ready to push full throttle, as they like to say. As a mom now, there's definitely a whole new slew of challenges, like taking a Dean to swim class and picking him up from school and teaching him how to get potty trained. And I feel like I have to have a lot of patience. And sometimes I do.
Yeah,
and sometimes I don't.
There is nothing like the patience of a mother.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah. So with that, Haley has been very patient with me in getting this podcast started. And aren't you glad we're doing it right now?
We are. I'm super happy that we're able to chat and just have a good time together and reminisce on the good old days of starting Familiar Folks and now Londen Productions. And It's just the beginning. So I think that's a wrap for now.
So if you guys have stayed with us this long, please like, subscribe, comment, or all those other YouTube-y type of things that we need to memorize for the next video, for the episode 2. But thank you so much. It's going to be a pleasure to document our journey as a husband and wife video team, and we hope to see you around for episode 2. Peace.
See ya.